My next guest is going to be taking on Neal Anderson at Unified MMA 46 coming up here September 23rd, live on UFC Fight Pass. It is Brandon Jenkins joining me here on the program. Brandon, how are you, man?
Awesome. It's been a good camp.
That's good to hear. And fighting up in Canada, tell me how this all came together.
So I unfortunately got released not too long ago, and my manager said that Neal Anderson's been on a bunch of watch lists, and it's a good reward. Beating him puts me back in like the bubble or the doorstep. So it's a big fight, on the regional scene. So hopefully I can get a big win over him and get back into something bigger.
Absolutely. And is this your first time fighting in Canada? I was trying to look up your record. I believe it is it not? Yeah.
First time fighting like out of the country. So I'm excited.
That's cool. And have you been to Canada before? Because I know you're from Minnesota originally. It's kind of close to the Canadian border.
I have not been to Canada. I've actually been out of, I think I went with Jordan. Yeah, I went with Jordan to Patty to fight in London. Then before that, I was in Georgia and Turkey. So I've done a bunch of traveling this year, but I never fought outside the States.
Okay, that's interesting. That's cool. You mentioned it there just quickly, just the two fights in the UFC. Actually, I don't know if you remember this. You and I did an interview. I went back and looked. February 19th, 2018, when you fought Robert Watley. We did an interview ages ago. I didn't even get a chance to talk to you when you were in the UFC because you just had the two fights. Were you surprised when you got released just because it was only two fights? Sometimes they give a little bit more leeway.
Yeah. Well, so I fought PFL before that, and they basically are going to put me on a shelf for like 8 months and to the start of the season. And the UFC wanted me. And sorry, I'm like stuttering.
Oh, anyway, it's all good. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah. So I fought PFL. They were going to put me on a shelf. So when they called, I didn't even know I was going to, be making my debut so fast. They told me like, hey, get back in the gym, and you're going to make your debut later this year. And then it literally happened like that week. And I was just getting back in the gym. And so it was a short notice fight. Didn't have the best results. And then my next fight, I got like 15 weeks. So the second one was kind of on me. And I looked around at the landscape and I saw everybody getting cut after like 2 fights. And I kind of just carried that stress into the cage with me. And I was like worried about job security and paychecks and stuff like that. And instead of just going out there and just fighting and, it being about having fun and doing what I love to do, I was just like, oh man, I'm gonna get cut if I lose. And, I got cut and I lost, or I lost and I got cut. So I think that the UFC is just in that, all the COVID hires, because that's what I was. They had like a short leash, and they got cut like after two losses. So I didn't have the best showing, but I know I'm like capable of better showings than that. I think the circumstances really played a big part of my performances.
What did you learn the most from that experience that you're bringing into this fight? Because again, Neal's never fought in the UFC. You've been under those bright lights. You fought a guy. I mean, one of your opponents in Jakar, it's still, I mean, he barely has any losses in the UFC, right? Like you fought high level opposition. How much will that pay dividends in this matchup? And what did you learn the most from that experience?
Yeah. I mean, I had the PFL fight against the UFC vet and won. And then the 2 UFC fights, like they were all tough guys. Jakar, I don't think anybody wanted to fight him. And, I took the fight, but if you know me, I fought like Robert Watley when nobody wanted to fight him. And, I think I probably would have a better record if I just fought easier opposition, but I don't think that's what MMA is about, and I think the best should always fight the best,
Yeah. No, very well said. Neal Anderson, what do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
He's a 6 foot tall boxer, jiu-jitsu guy, not much of a wrestler, but, on the ground, he's got some good finishing instincts. So I gotta be really wary about that stuff. But his hands are real nice. I think it could be like a great stand-up battle. And I've been working with Jordan Levitt this whole camp, and so I think my grappling can stack up against his. But I do think it's going to be like a 3-round, awesome stand-up fight.
Your gym's been on a roll, by the way. Syndicate. You mentioned Jordan Levitt. I know there's a lot of names there. I know Merab spent some time there. He picked up a big win over Jose Aldo. What's it like being there? And who do you mainly get to work with aside from Jordan? Are there any other training partners that you mainly getting to work with ahead of this fight?
Yeah, my 2 main training partners are usually like Jordan Levitt or Alex Martinez from Canada. He's actually going to be in the corner with me. He
Oh,
does.
cool. I love Alex. Great dude. Great guy. Nicest guy. One of the nicest guys I've ever interviewed in this
Yeah,
industry, I must say, by the way, if he's watching this.
yeah, he's awesome. He's also I want to say like I don't want to compare him to Anthony Pettis, but he's like a younger Anthony Pettis.
I
So he
can
does
see
like
it. I honestly can. Yeah. Yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, he does all the flashy kicks, and he's like a karate black belt or taekwondo black belt. So yeah, I got good striker, good ground guy in Jordan. So I think they keep me honest, and I can compete with those guys. And I don't know, I feel pretty confident. It's weird. It's like the worst thing that could ever happened with the UFC. So
Yeah.
this fight's kind of like freeing, like
Yeah.
I'm happy to be fighting and traveling, and like I don't have any stress. It's great.
And you got Alex, who's probably going to be a good tour guide because I know he lives in Alberta anyway, so I'm sure he's familiar with the area. He can show you the good spots, just
Yeah.
all that stuff. So that's going to make things a little bit more accommodating. The weight cut, obviously, lots of time before the fight. When does that process start for you? When are you going to be cutting down?
I could make weight this weekend. I'm already down.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Like I've been going to the PI with the UFC guys because we have at least like 8 other fighters in the UFC, so I can still go there with them and train. So I've been using the PI to lose the weight, and it's kind of like still being in the UFC a little bit when it comes to like strength conditioning and like dieting and stuff. So I still have like those connections and those friends. So yeah, the weight's good right now. I mean, I'm smaller than when they first called me to fight in the UFC, and I had that horrible weight cut. I cut like 18 pounds, and
I remember that. Oh yeah, that was brutal.
Oh yeah, and then Jordan wanted to go to In-N-Out Burger like the same day they called me for the fight, and I was like, oh. So yeah, but that won't happen again. I'm in good shapes, and I'm skinny right now, so I can make weight this weekend.
And good news, there's no In-N-Out Burger in Canada, so you don't have to worry about that when you head out there, which is great.
Poutine,
You mentioned Alex.
right?
Yeah, there's some poutine there. I don't know if there's any good like spots in Alberta. You'd have to look that up. But yeah, as far as like Tim Hortons is big here. I know they have it in the US, but yeah, you want to stay away from that too. Not very healthy. But you mentioned Alex Martinez. Who else will be in the cage with you as far as your corner? Or is it just him going with you?
Lance from Iridium is coming.
Oh, really? Okay, cool. That's awesome. So nice mix. You get the fighter and the agent, right? So
right, yeah. Well, I mean, Lance is always in my corner. I think what are we like 5-1, 3-1, something like 4-1. I don't, and I don't think Lance has lost a fight in Canada yet, like being in the corner.
There you go. The record's on the line here. So does that add more pressure? You don't want to let Lance down, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. I know you feel like you're going to get your hand raised on September 23rd, but how do you envision the fight going down?
I don't know, man. He's tough. I know he's been sat down by some 45ers, and it's weird because like he's like a giant 45er, and I'm like a giant 55er. So I think he went back up because he was worried about his chin, but maybe he's reinvigorated at 55. Maybe we'll get the best version of Neal and the best version of me, So I think it makes for a good fight.
So after this, you're still a free agent, right? So I guess it's just sort of whatever opportunities come to your table, which is probably kind of nice too, because you can kind of pick and choose what would be, the best opportunities. Any chance you go back to PFL, or you just sort of keep your options open?
I don't know. I hope so. I hope somebody big picks me up. This one, I mean, I'm supposed to go out and get a win over a big regional event, a big UFC Fight Pass fight. So this is that fight supposed to open up, some different different doors. And I think it does a lot more for my career rather than just fighting local, like on a local show where I can sell tickets, like going into enemy territory and trying to knock out the hometown guy, and he's been on all those watch lists. So it's a high risk, high reward.
Yeah, big opportunity. Like you said there. I know you're in Vegas now. Do you ever go back home at all? Like any plans to do that after this fight, or maybe closer to the holidays? Or you're like, nah, it's too cold. I'm gonna stay in Vegas.
It's funny because we were supposed to be on vacation 2 weeks before this fight, so like next week, and bought the tickets, and then we're gonna go to Duluth and all that stuff. But then Lance is like, "You gotta take this fight." I was like, "All right," and then
yeah.
So, yeah, the lady's a little mad at me about it, but opportunity to knock, so you have to take it.
Absolutely. What is that downtime looking like in Vegas? What do you get up to? I know you're in there training all the time, but I know a lot of fighters hike. I know it's hot there though, so you kind of gotta be worried about that too. What's downtime? Are you into video games at all, or what have you been up to?
Well, it's like 114 out this week. I don't know
Yeah.
why it's so hot. So yeah, it's been a lot of indoor stuff, just training. Yeah,
Any
I like to
Netflix?
spend
Any watching any TV shows or anything?
I just started Mayor of Kingstown. Have you seen
Okay.
that?
I haven't. It's on my list. I have like a huge list of things I got to get through, but I hear good
Jeremy
things. So.
Renner's in it. He's like an in-between guy for like the Bloods, the Crips, the
Oh,
Aryan
okay.
people, and it's wild. It's like a prison show, but
Okay.
yeah, he keeps everybody from fighting each other in prison and in Detroit. So it's a really cool like cop drama.
Cool. And if you want to see more violence, Unified MMA 46, September 23rd, live in UFC Fight Pass. Brandon, thank you so much for doing this, man. If there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors or any social media, I'll give you the last word.
I'd like to thank my sponsor, Jet Alert. They're the #1 caffeine pill in America. And I'd like to thank my sponsor, Stacks Energy Drink, or Stacks Energy, and Pharma Extract. They're here in Vegas. They're like CBD and stuff, wellness, and Iridium for everything they do for me.